Hi there everybody, good morning, welcome to Wednesday's Indycar. My name's Gordon Ross and today's show is slightly, at least slightly, about what's been happening to the SNP and more specifically what's been happening to Alex Salmond in recent weeks. Now you'll all know about the allegations that have been made against Mr Salmond by a former aide during his term in office in the 1990s. Now, one of the interesting things about the story, and it's covered in the Guardian this morning by Severin and Carroll, is the way the media is reporting this as being a split between one part of the SNP and another, between Nicola Sturgeon and people who are more, so we say, more loyal to Mr Salmond. But there isn't actually a split. All that's happened is the British civil service have very cleverly manipulated the law and manipulated the timing of two allegations to cause the maximum amount of damage both to Mr Salmond and to drive a wedge between him and the First Minister. Now, two things spring to mind instantly that cause me to be deeply suspicious of this particular development. One is, regardless of what Mr Salmond has done or not done in the past, the point is, why wait until this particular moment for two people to come forward and make allegations against him where there is no evidence, where there is only hearsay, where it's been over 5 years since the alleged offences took place, and where there is no possible way for Mr Salmond to even find out who's making the allegations, what the allegations are, where they happened, when they happened, and what witnesses were around at the time. He has no way of finding any of that out. The process is supposed to have been completely confidential, and Mr Salmond's name and the name of the complainants were supposed to remain confidential while the investigation was going on. Senior British civil servant connected to the Scottish Government deliberately decided to reveal Mr Salmond's name and announced that she was going to do that. Salmond then took out an interdict to prevent his name being released in this way. She then dropped the whole idea of revealing his name officially, and then mysteriously her department leaked all of that information to the Daily Record. Now you tell me, is that the action of a department which is fit for purpose in terms of civil service? I don't think it is. Whatever this senior civil service woman's motives and the way she behaved, she perhaps actually just played a small part in this conspiracy, because it is a conspiracy. It's obviously a conspiracy. She may well have gone along and changed the laws and made all these specific changes to the way that the complaints are handled in good faith. She may have been perfectly innocent in this, but somebody else in the Scottish part of the British civil service is not, because what's not being said is that at least one of the complainants in this particular instance is a British civil servant, and it's a British civil servant who is making the allegations. This was revealed accidentally by Severin and Carroll's article in the Guardian, where he said one of the complainants is believed now to have left the civil service. Now that tells you that the complainant themselves is from the civil service. The civil service is the place that was going to give away Salmond's name. The civil service and the civil servants are the people who have waited to pounce on him in this way, waited till the legislation and waited until the rules governing ministerial conduct were changed in such a way that they could cause the maximum amount of damage and drag his name through the dirt. Now, whether he did any of these things or not is immaterial. He could have done these things. We might never know. It is hearsay evidence. There's no corroboration. And until the case comes to court, there is no way of telling one way or the other who has done what. But the point is that even if Mr Salmond is innocent, and I believe that he probably is innocent, people do in drunken parties make passes at one another. It doesn't constitute any kind of assault, though. And it happens daily to millions of people, and nobody brings charges against one another for it. But the point is that the civil service, the British civil service, which is attached to the Scottish Government, is where all of this is coming from. The newspaper articles are trying to make out that Salmond is at odds with the Scottish Government. He's not. He's at odds with the British Civil Service, which runs part of the Scottish Government on behalf of the British state. There's only a very tiny percentage of the Scottish Civil Service which is actually sworn an allegiance to the Scottish Parliament and the Scottish Government. A tiny proportion. It's less than a third, I believe. 2/3 of the Scottish Civil Service works for the British state. And that's why I think they have waited until now to bring these allegations against Mr. Salmond. As I say, whether they are true or not remains to be seen. I'm not making any judgments on that. But I believe the timing of these is the critical thing. And the critical thing also is who is making the allegations. We know at least one of the complainants is a member of the British Civil Service and has recently left the British Civil Service. No name has been given, obviously, because they're protected as the complainant. So it's obvious, I think, to anybody with the brain who looks at all of the facts that have been revealed so far, that it's deeply suspicious that the timing and the origin of these complaints points very firmly to the British civil servants and the British Civil Service itself as the source of all of this smear campaign. It cannot be an accident. Whether the civil servant who was about to reveal this officially and quite legally is the source of it, I don't think so. I think she is just playing a part by doing her job, and I think she probably was doing that in good faith, but there are others in the background behind this. Who is it who made the complaint? Why have they waited 5 years to make it? And who else is making the complaint? Apparently there are 2 complainants. One of them is definitely a civil servant. That's been revealed by Severin Carroll today. Well done, Severin, that you've revealed another little bit of the British plot to the Scottish people by accidentally pointing out that this person has now left the civil service. So thanks for that. That's helped us put the picture together a bit more. So next time the Guardian's writing another article about Mr. Salmond, feel free to add some more facts about other members of the civil service who have been involved in this, because I'd love to know who the rest of the cabal is that are behind this smear campaign. That's all I want to say today. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Bye for now.